is First Step.
Hey! Welcome to the First Step Podcast. My name is Kevin. With me, as always, Australia's breakdancing choreographer, Javi.
What's going on, guys? Did you see that Australian breakdancer, by the way?
Oh, buddy, I saw it, and I was not impressed. It was bad.
My favorite was the bunny hop, the kangaroo hop.
The kangaroo hop. It was the
Sorry, not the bunny, the kangaroo
hop.
He like points at the Australian logo and just starts doing the kangaroo hop.
I loved it, dude. I loved it. I loved how it lasted 1 year at the Olympics.
Yeah. How you doing, big guy? Looking good.
Listen, I'm doing better than I was yesterday. I have some AC in the house, which is freaking amazing. And I'm feeling better. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about the pod. This is going to be a lot of fun. We're doing a whole fantasy pod. So make sure you guys bring your notepads. Again, me and Javi are experts at all things football.
Yeah. By the way, so one of us is a two-time champ.
Oh,
one of us is a two-time Sacco, but we're not going to tell you who's who. You just gotta go with it. We're not gonna tell you who's a two-time Sacco and who's a two-time champ. We're just gonna run with it, and you gotta make your decision.
Okay. I see how this is working. I know what you're doing here. We all know it's me. But listen, I'm also a one-time champion. There's 3 championships in this podcast here.
I'm just letting you know, man. I was just throwing it out there.
So a word of warning to everyone listening. Me and Hav are used to auction drafts. We prefer auction drafts. It is the preferred method of fantasy, in my opinion. Hav, do you agree?
Yeah, it's the only way to do fantasy drafts, in my opinion. Snake drafts is for children.
For children or old people. That's my theory on it.
Not even, man. All people should be able to do auction too.
So I think when we talk about who we're drafting and how we set it up in the sense of we have that mindset of, oh, am I going to blow all my load on my first pick, or am I going to blow it later down the line and balance it through? In this case, so today, what we're just going to go do is we're going to go through each position, go one by one. Let's say Javi picks the first pick, then I can't get that guy the second. We're just going to go by position. So we'll end up having a top 20, top 10 on each position. And hopefully this gives you guys enough information so that when you guys draft for your fantasy team, you have a lot of information that you could build a nice little squad.
Can we shit on each other's picks? Is that allowed?
Yeah, sure.
If I think your pick is garbage or vice versa, are we allowed?
Here's the thing though. Here between us two, we're gonna have all of us. Our picks are gonna be good. It's not gonna be bad.
True.
But I say we go ahead and just jump right in. What do you think?
Yeah, let's get after it.
All right, let's start with
what position we starting with.
Let's start with running backs. And since I'm such a nice guy, and because I appreciate you doing this with me, I am gonna let you go first.
Well, that's easy. Running back. Okay, Christian McCaffrey. Duh.
Yeah, obviously. Christian McCaffrey is probably going to be the number 1 pick in most people's drafts, whether you're doing snake or auction. That he's going to be the one that people are going to be spending the most amount of money on. I assume he should be. Yeah,
he was injured though, so some people were dropping him a bit.
That's the only thing with Christian McCaffrey, right? There is injury concerns. He loses about 3 games a season, but when he is playing, he leads the league in carries per game, points per game, yards per carry. The dude's a freaking beast. He's
basically what makes him so valuable to me is that he's like having an RB1 and a wide receiver 2 on your team.
He's a lot of fun.
One player.
Yeah, he's great.
Even with injury risk, I still think he should be the number 1 overall pick. I don't think he's going to miss much. I don't think he's going to miss week 1.
Yeah, I think San Francisco is a favorite to go to the Super Bowl and possibly win it. Yeah, obviously, that's a no-brainer. We could talk all day about how great Christian McCaffrey is. I say I'm just going to go with the pick. And my second pick, so in running backs, Christian McCaffrey, top dog. I think you have a little second tier under him. Literally just a tier right under him. He's in a tier all be on himself. I'm going to go the second tier. I have 2 guys here that are similar, but I'm going to go with Bijan Robinson from Atlanta.
I like it. Actually, I have him as my second RB also.
Yeah, we're talking about he's running into his sophomore year. This guy is so athletic, so fun to watch. We're talking about an Atlanta offense that's just getting into itself now. New coach, new quarterback. I'm hoping that this offense is going to start clicking and doing something pretty. I like Bijan here. I don't know. What else do you think?
I think these are the type of running in fantasy. The most valuable running backs are the ones that you want. You want guys that both one are don't have a lot of competition,
Mm-hmm.
and they're both pass catchers and runners, and they get the bulk of the touches. These are guys. These first 2 or 3 guys that we're going to talk about are all gonna. They're all going to be getting 100 carries a game, almost, or touches.
Yeah.
Not really carries, because it's touches that you want, whether it's a run or a pass. So I think, yeah, I have him a little bit ahead of Brees Hall personally. I know a
Yeah.
lot of people like Brees Hall this year, but I think that he's going to be. I think he's going to be the centerpiece of that entire offense.
Yeah.
I think it's going to revolve around him. We were expecting it last year, but you had that dope Arthur Smith as their coach,
dude.
who's just, in my opinion, a moron when it comes to running an offense. Ridiculous, because all the talent that, if you look at all the talent,
Kyle Pitts, man.
Kyle,
Pitts,
like none of them would get touches. None of them. It was crazy. It's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
the way that offense ran was nuts to me. So I think everybody was just maybe a year behind. I think the new system, new coach, new system, new offensive coordinator, new QB, all that it's gonna be really good for him. And I think we're gonna get a breakout year from him.
Yeah, I think he's definitely an RB1, some guy you want on your team, and he'll probably end up being this. If it's not Christian McCaffrey, it's probably Bijan Robinson for top dog this year in running backs. All right, so number 3, baby. Who do you got?
I'm gonna go with Brees Hall.
Great pick.
I think he's the next guy of all the running backs out there. I think there's really only 3 right now that you could say that are gonna get like all the carries for their team. They're gonna get at least all the running back touches.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to be another guy. I think, yeah, they have Aaron Rodgers, but we saw what this guy was doing at the end of the year last year. I don't think that this Jets team is going to be, even though they have Aaron Rodgers, it's not going to be this like pass happy offense. We've seen these Aaron Rodgers teams, like, those recent Packers teams where they did run the ball a lot. So I could see this Jets team being very similar. They're going to use a lot of play action. They're going to use him in basically in every way. They're going to put him out wide. So I think he's the other running back out of these guys that we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's just going to be the dude for that offense.
Yeah, I think Brees Hall.
As much as I hate the fucking Jets, by the way.
No, I agree with you 100%. With Aaron Rodgers behind the ball, I do Brees Hall here. He's one of those guys that catches the ball really well too. He's going to be that check down for Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, you said it all, right? Like, I think Brees Hall, Bijan Robinson, they're in that second tier. I think everybody that we're going to, in my opinion, the most people we're going to talk about next go in that tier right under them. It's Christian McCaffrey by himself, Bijan and Brees, and then everybody else.
And I put those 3 in the same category just because of the type of running backs they are. So I kind of put them all in the same tier. It's kind of like that's the tier 1 for me when I'm looking.
I just think Christian McCaffrey's
sheet.
a fucking freak, right? And there's like very limited. The risk that you have is him being injured, but if he's playing, he is one of the best. So that's my only difference between Christian.
Yeah, I think he's the
Brees
one
Hall
of the tier. Yeah, he's number 1 on that tier. But I would say you could put those 2 other guys in the same tier as him.
Yeah.
Again, preseason. We'll see.
Preseason starts. True. All right, so I'm coming up next.
This is where it gets fun, I feel like.
Yeah,
now this is kind of where we're going to have some debates here.
So I'm going to go with Jahmyr Gibbs. I know he's coming off a little bit injured, but I think by the time season starts, he'll be fine. We're talking about Detroit.
It was a hamstring, right?
It was a little hammy. Yeah, it was whatever, bro. It was nothing. We're talking about a Detroit team that is just pumped. Dan Campbell has these guys pumped. Jahmyr Gibbs is a fucking unit. He's an absolute unit. I think that he was the RB3 last year. If I'm not, he was the RB3 last year. We're talking about a team that we're talking about a guy who's going to put up the numbers, who has the plays in his hands. We're talking about Detroit, right? Detroit Lions aren't the most exciting team to watch. He's going to get most of the touches, if not all of them. I like Jahmyr Gibbs. I like Jahmyr Gibbs a lot. I don't even know if I'm saying that. Is it Jahmyr? Jahmyr
Gibbs.
I'm such a ref. I said
Jahmyr. I know. I was like, Jahmyr.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
I mean, bro, what are you doing?
I'm Latin, bro. Don't.
Jahmyr, dude. It's J-A.
Whatever, bro. It's Yami. It's Yami. Whatever. I like him a lot. I think he's gonna be a solid.
I agree with you. I think that offense is going to be a very high-powered offense. There is a little worry there because they do have Montgomery, and they like to give him the ball too.
Yeah,
I
but
do think
Montgomery's
Jameer is going to
aging.
be the dude there, but you could see some TDs vultured from. He could get some TDs vultured again, like he did last year. I had Montgomery on a few teams last year, and I was on the benefiting side of it. But I know there was a lot of people that were frustrated more in the first half of the season
Right.
with Jameer Gibbs getting some of his TDs vultured from inside the 5, inside the 10. But we saw at the end of the year they started really using Gibbs as the featured back. So I think they're going to be a good 1-2 punch in that offense. I'm with you. I like Gibbs too there.
Yeah, I think last year Yamir was a rookie, right? So they maybe didn't have that much faith in him coming into it, but I think this year they're gonna give it to him. When he gets the ball, he's super explosive. I like him a lot. All right, let's go next pick. What you got?
All right, now's when it's get some
This is
fun.
sexy because Yamir Gibbs is like on the top
Yeah,
tier of that next
this
tier.
is going to be. I'm going to give you. This is a hot take.
All right,
The
go.
first hot take. I'm going to go Devon A-Chain. Now,
you pulled the trigger so soon.
Now, you got to hear me out, though. You got to hear me out. I love that you flipped the hat around. There you go,
I
baby.
flipped the hat. I'm so upset because I was going to get him like way down the list, but I was going to get
No,
him. Okay.
no. I'm putting him up there. And here's
Why? Tell me.
Here's why. You want this dude on your team.
That is a hot take that you're taking.
Hear me out. You got to hear me out, all right?
Okay.
This is a guy, all right, that if he's healthy
Okay.
and he gets, let's say, 50% of the touches for the Dolphins' backfield, this guy's got 1,800, 2,000 yard potential. All right, we're looking at a potential like Chris Johnson type breakout season.
Yeah.
Like he's got that kind of speed, that kind of athleticism. Like that talent is wild.
No, yeah.
All right, you don't see that because you go down the next names on there, you know, all these other names, and yes, they're great, but that kind of talent is not there. That speed, that athleticism. I mean, you saw, dude, the guy would get 5-10 carries a game, and look what he was doing with it.
Yeah, he was really
healthy.
good. He was literally good after that first
Now,
touch. He was gone.
a huge thing here is his health. Can he stay healthy? I'm thinking second year. Now he's having a couple years with an NFL weight program, training program, getting a little stronger, getting a little healthier. So that's a dude. I'm putting him there because that's a dude that I think you need to be getting on your team. Also in fantasy football, I like to play for upside, not really like safety. And I'm trying to find guys that if they break out, they're going to win me a championship. And that's the type of player I want.
I'm not hating on the pick. I love A-Chain. I do. I really do like him. I think there's a lot of running back. My biggest problem with him getting him earlier and that value, right? Imagine he's a great value guy, right? Like you could probably get him for, I don't know. I have him here. He's like an average, like around $30 if you're doing an auction draft based off 230 something. But I just feel like the Dolphins have a really stacked running back room right now.
It's not stacked. It's a full room, but stacked, I don't know.
Jalen Wright.
Okay.
this team's nasty.
Mostert is super old already. He's still great. Love
still
Mostert.
Great. He had a great season. That is his best season of he's ever had last year.
Yeah, but he's due for huge touchdown regression. Like that guy ran so pure on touchdowns. It was wild how pure that guy ran. So yeah. I don't think you're going to get that, and you're not going to get that same. You're not going to get that same split. So again, this is all he has to get for him to hit this. He's got to be getting at least 50% of the touches. If he gets that, watch the fuck out, dude.
Yeah,
watch out.
I'm super excited. All right, A-Chain out the window. All right, I'm gonna go with kind of another one that's a little out there. He's not as wild, but I'm gonna go with Kyren Williams from the Rams. I really like him this year. I think he's gonna do really well. He was super good last year. He led the lead in NFL in rushing yards per game last season. He tied Priest Holmes on a record. I think he's got a lot of upside. I think the Rams they're everywhere this season, and I think that they're gonna rely a lot on the running game. I really like Kyren Williams here. He's gonna be on that upper tier in value. So there's that. There's some injury concerns, but I like him. I like him at the spot here, especially you just left it wide open for me. So I'm gonna take him.
Look, he's fine. I don't dislike Kyren Williams. My only thing is I think he's another big regression candidate. I think it's going to be hard for him to duplicate what he did last year. He does have a great offensive line, and we know that Rams system has been great for running backs.
Mhm.
Most running backs that play for that in that system do well. But I don't know. I just don't know if he's going to be able to follow up that kind of season he had last year.
Yeah. I think that they also picked up Blake Corum, who's a beast. So that might take some TDs away from him. I like him at the spot. He should be consistent. I think he's going to be an RB1. I mean, he should be in that level of RB1 for sure. I wouldn't risk it too much on him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably I'm probably going to end up with. I had him on a few teams last year. Again, if we're in auction, it depends on what price you get him for. But
I see him like in that $40 range. He's probably going to end up 40, maybe a little bit less if depending on how your league drafts.
Yeah, and I think in Snake he's like a late first, early second guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Depending on if people are taking a bunch of running backs or not. Yeah, I think it's good. I don't think it's a sexy pick, but I think it's definitely
It's not sexy. It's not A-Chain. I'll tell you that much. Go for it. Next pick.
Hey, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I'm telling you.
I'm not hating on it.
I'm telling you.
Go next pick.
I'm gonna go with one that I think that he could have. This is a guy that could have been close to that first tier. Put in that first tier. I'm just not sure how he's going to be with that offense yet. I'm going to go with Saquon.
Saquon Barkley. That's a great.
My only concern with him is obviously the guy's got some miles on him, even though he hasn't been in the league that many years. The Giants ran that dude into the ground, man. Jesus Christ. They just ran the. So, but I do think he's going now with the Eagles. He's going into an offense that is, we know how good that offensive line is.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the best offensive lines in the league. And the only reason why I don't put him up there with Bijan and Brees and my boy A-Chain is just because of the tush-push concern, man. Like, that team inside the 5-yard line, they do not give the ball to running back. So if he's going to score a touchdown, it's got to be from like outside the 5, outside the 10.
That's my thing with Saquon. You said it. I love him as a running back. I think he's going to do really well as Philly. But is he going to get the points on the touchdown? Bro, like we saw it last year. It goes to Jalen Hurts. When we talked about QBs, we'll go into. But Jalen Hurts takes the touches there. It's crazy. It's like.
But I also think that's like this kind of cheer with Gibbs, A-Chain, Kyron, Saquon. These are all guys that they have some risk built into them. They all have some kind of concern.
Every player has
A-Chain, is he going to have enough touches? Is he going to be, or is he injury prone again? Can Kyron really repeat what he did last year, or was he just a flash in the pan? Jahmyr Gibbs has the vulture concerns with Montgomery. So there is a level of baked-in risk to each of these guys. That's why these are like the tier 2 guys. They're all RB1s, but if you want to break them down into tiers, that's why I think these guys are a tier below those top 3 that you really can't, on paper, there's really no path for them other than like a blown knee or something for them to fail.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. I think it's not a bad pick. I think he's got a great offensive line in front of him, protecting him. He could run. He could do whatever he wants. My only thing with Saquon, my only hesitation there is Jalen Hurts taking those touchdowns. But yeah, not bad at all. My next guy up is Jonathan Taylor from the Colts, man. I think if he's healthy, he's incredible. And talk about workload. He's going to get the ball a lot. JTT is a beast. He runs. He's fast. We've seen him do it. He just needs to stay healthy. But I like him here in the upper echelons of this pick. I can't say anything more about him, right? He's got 21.4 touches a game last year. It's a lot. That's a workhorse. I think he's definitely gonna be an RB1. I think he's definitely gonna be top 15 running backs in the league at the end of the year. If those numbers stay high and he doesn't get injured, which is his biggest concern, is injuries. But I do like Jonathan Taylor here. To me, he's top 3 or tier 3 of running backs. So you have the Christian McCaffrey up on top. You have maybe Bijan and Brees on the second tier, and then all these guys we talked about in that tier 3. I think if you could get him for a good price in that $30-$40 range, he's a great pickup.
Yeah, I'm with you on all those. I don't really have much to say on JT.
Yeah,
I think you're spot on. I think you're spot on with it.
Out of everybody, he's probably the least to worry about workload, right? Like he's gonna get the ball.
The thing with him is that the argument there is that AR is gonna That dude's going to run a lot. We saw what he did in 2 games last year. He
Yeah.
ran everywhere.
Yeah.
So they basically have 2 running backs because I haven't seen him throw a good pass yet either. So at Florida or in the NFL. So,
Yeah.
but if he can, well, we'll get the quarterback. So I'm not going to get into him.
Yeah. We'll get into
but
quarterbacks.
he does run a lot. So the risk in JT is one, well, injuries, and two, because he has had a little bit of trouble staying healthy.
Mhm.
But that just goes with the position at this point. That's why most of these teams have running
Yeah.
backs. But yeah, I think he's locked and loaded there as an RB1 for
Yeah.
sure.
And again, to the listeners, all these running backs are great options. Like literally
Yeah,
everybody.
these are all still these are
We're not even getting into the deep maybe, but these are all really good RB1s. If you have them,
these
on
are
your
all
team,
layups.
you're
We're just
super
splitting
excited.
hairs on far as like rankings and who's in
Exactly.
what tier.
Exactly.
These are all everybody that we're talking about right now is an absolute stud. You get him, draft him if you can get him.
Yeah. All right. You're next up.
Next one, I'm gonna go with a guy that I think is going to score 1,000 touchdowns this year. The big dog,
Derrick Henry, baby. I love Derrick Henry
so
this year.
this is a guy that I feel like he's going a little bit under the radar this year.
He's going low this year.
But this is a dude that we haven't seen him in an offense like this. He's got, yes, I know there's Lamar there that can run a little bit, but we saw Lamar last year. He's basically trying to make him much more of a pocket passer. He's trying to run less, stay a little healthier, just use his legs to make plays when he has to. And we saw guys like Gus Edwards had 12 touchdowns or something last year?
Yeah.
So imagine, and we know that this Ravens team loves to run the ball. They pound the ball. They play like this super physical style of running the ball. So this is a dude that's built to run the ball for this team.
Yeah.
All right. Like he's like the perfect running back for this team. His concerns are, his age, all that. He has a ton of miles on him because of all the carries he's had and the way that he runs. But I also don't think he's played on a team this good yet. I mean, he's been with the Titans for years. We saw what he did with them. And he basically, ran that team into the playoffs a couple of times by himself with him on his back. Like that dude. And if you always saw, he always got better. He always gets better as the season gets later because he's just so physical and he just wears teams down. So this is a guy that I think on a good offense with this offensive line and this system. I mean, I think I saw a bet that was, I think his bet for total touchdowns is like 10.5.
I'll take it.
Easy smash for the season. Like it's an easy smash. Like I've already hammered that bet a couple times. I swear to God.
You double down on it.
Yeah, dude. If Gus Edwards scored 12 touchdowns and he ran extremely pure last season,
Yeah.
Imagine a dude like Derrick Henry.
I absolutely agree with you on Derrick Henry. I think him and Baltimore Ravens just makes sense, especially now. I think Derrick Henry's a little older. The Ravens protect the shit out of their running backs and their quarterback. I think the fact that Lamar runs actually helps out Derrick Henry because they're going to have to worry about Lamar running and Derrick Henry could pop off on the side. I love Derrick Henry this year. I think he's going to be really. I think you could get him at a value this year. The people have been down on him lately. We're talking about a guy that 2 years ago was probably the first round pick, if not him.
He was a top 5 pick.
Absolutely,
he was definitely an early top 7 pick kind of thing, first rounder.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, you can get him in the mid to late second rounds now. Even sometimes you even see him in the third.
I absolutely love Derrick Henry there. I'm not even going to talk shit. I think it's great. My guy, I think this guy's also getting people forget about him. He was suspended for a little part of the beginning of last year, so he didn't really get the numbers that we're used to seeing him in the season. But when he was playing, he was an absolute freaking beast. Alvin Kamara from the New Orleans Saints.
Ooh.
Take him, baby. Take him. That's a fun running back to have. He's going to be playing the entire season. Talk about check down. We have Derek Carr throwing him the ball.
Dude, check down Carr. He loves
check
to do it.
Check down Carr, baby. I like Kamara here. I don't know what else to say about him. He's a unit. He gets targets, gets the ball, runs like a beast. In a Saints team that's uninspired right now, right? Like they don't really have anybody that we could really get super excited for. He is that bright light there.
Yeah, I think we're looking at a Saints team that is lacking on the talent end, on the offensive side of the ball. You got Kamara and you got like Olave, really. Everyone else is meh.
Yeah.
So this is a team that they're going to be needing to feature him a lot, but he's a dude that it's not so much the carries. If you're in a PPR format, this guy's a beast.
Absolute
just
beast.
because of those. And then they give him that they give him those dump off passes in that open space, and like he's deadly. So
Yeah.
I would have probably had him a little bit lower. I think there's a few guys I would take before him, but I got no problem. I got no problem with you putting him there at
Yeah.
all.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't. Hey, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So
Now,
so
this, like
that was our 10.
now,
That's our 10. So we're at 10. Would we consider these the top 10 running backs, or would you change anything as of right now? We're at 10 running backs. We have Christian McCaffrey. What was the order here? We went
Christian McCaffrey, Bijan, Brees, Jameer Gibbs, A Chain, Kyron, Saquon,
and Henry and
JT,
Kamara.
Henry, and Kamara.
Yeah. Not a bad list. I like all those guys personally. I think there's maybe one or two guys that you could slip in there. We'll talk about them now, I'm assuming. But it's not a bad list by any means.
No, I think that's a pretty locked in top 10.
Yeah, I think maybe your weakest one there might be Kamara. I'm not gonna lie to you, just because it's the is he gonna be playing up to his standards? But I do that as a top 10.
Yeah. Also, can we keep track of this list? Are you make sure I'm not having written them down, but we should keep track of them because I want to see how we do. Maybe we
I
can
will.
maybe we'll do a couple check-ins to see how they're ranking
Oh,
as
absolutely.
the
We're gonna
season
do that.
throughout the season.
Yeah, no worries. I'll write it down now and I'll
I
set it
can't
up.
wait for my A Chain victory laps on the pod.
I'm
Boy,
hoping so.
that's gonna be fun.
Listen, if that A-Chain live victory lap, I'm 100% for it. There's no one gonna be happier. All right, let's go. Let's go next picks. Let's go with number 11. Who do you have?
Okay. This is where we start to get. These are
Yeah.
more. I guess they're not hot takes, but they're more. Now you can really make arguments for each one. But the next guy I'm going to go with is Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs.
Yeah. So Josh Jacobs with the Packers now. This is a guy that last year he had some injury issues. Was on that garbage team, the Raiders.
Yeah.
But I think now, change of scenery, you're going to a high-powered offense. I think the Packers are supposed to have a great offense this year, and also they cleared out that running back room. So I like him here just because I think this is a dude that's going to get 300 plus touches this year. They're
Mm-hmm.
going to give him the ball a lot, and he's always done well when he gets a lot of volume. That's just the type of running back he's been. So this is a guy you want. I like drafting guys that are in good offenses. I want
Mm-hmm.
pieces of good offenses. And this is a guy that really he's the only guy because who's their backup? AJ Dillon, and no knock on him, but
They
dude's kind
have
of trash.
they have that rookie that they drafted, Marshawn Lloyd.
Yeah, but I don't think Lloyd or AJ Dillon are going to be really threats to Jacobs unless there's an injury.
Sure.
I think he's going to be the dude there. This is another one of those situations where he's just going to get all the touches, passing game and running. He's not the best pass catcher, but he's good enough. But he's just not at the talent level of some of these upper echelon guys that we've talked about.
Yeah.
But I do think just because of I want shares of good offenses and guys that are going to touch the ball a lot in these good offenses, he's going to get all the goal line work. He's going to get most of the passing game work. And like I'm telling you, I think they could potentially give this guy 300 plus touches this year.
Yeah, my only thing with Jacobs is there's that unknown. Like he had 2 years ago the dude was an absolute beast, dominated, and then last year he went to nowhere. Granted, I know it was that Raiders team was garbage, but I don't hate the pick. I think you're right. I think he is going to get a lot of touches, and I'm excited to see him what he does on Green Bay. I'm really excited for that Green Bay team. I like Jordan Love a lot this year. Yeah, I like him. I'm going to go with some guy that is a little bit more proven. I'm going to go with Travis Etienne this year. I think he's going to get a lot of
Interesting.
touches. Yeah.
More
Yeah.
proven.
Yeah.
Is he more proven though?
I mean, he hasn't had a bad year.
He hasn't had a great year yet though.
Yeah, but we're talking about these guys that are already post 11, who really is. Well, we've had a few guys here that had really great years, but like,
I get it. But you just said he was more proven than Josh Jacobs. I don't know about that.
I think
that's like a Doc Rivers take, man.
I don't know, bro. Don't get started with me and Doc Rivers. Don't get me started with Doc Rivers. Listen, you have a Trevor Lawrence run offense here. It's the Jaguars. They're gonna run the freaking ball. He's gonna get the touches. He's very good. He's gonna get the workload. I see him being a top 10 running back this year easily. Travis Etienne, Jacksonville Jaguars, come at me.
Yeah,
Well,
I know. Look, I'm not saying he's bad. I think he's a good pick.
the only problem with Etienne might be where you get him at. His value might be a little bit jacked up, inflated. So I wouldn't blow my load on him, but by any means, I wouldn't spend more than $35 tops if I was doing an auction draft on him. But I do like him. I think he's actually in that upper tier of running backs. I have him there with the Kyron Williams, the Derrick Henrys. I like him a lot.
Yeah. All right. My next guy is actually a guy that I would have probably put above ETN. Is just because of team and system, and actually just might be a better player. Isaiah Pacheco.
Isaiah Pacheco, great. I
think that dude.
If you didn't want him, I was gonna get him.
Yeah, that dude is. I love the way he runs. That guy runs angry. He runs so hard,
like a
cartoon. He does. He does. He's like a hard runner. But look, he's a running back he's Mahomes' running back, and you can't as a team that's going to score touchdowns. We've also we know the issues that team has at the wide receiver position, especially now losing Marquise Brown. So, and they don't really have another running back on that team that they're going to feature. Like he's going to be the dude there. And I don't know what else to explain on him.
I absolutely agree with you. There's nobody else on the Chiefs backfield that they'll throw they trust to give him the ball and to run the ball and even toss it to him. I think he's a great pick. He went from being like a role player to being their starting running back last year and absolutely dominate the Super Bowl. He was incredible last year. Yeah, I like that pick a lot. I agree with you. I think he's going to be top 15 running back. Almost without a doubt.
And I would even make the argument that he's a player that you could probably sneak up there a little higher. He's one of those guys that his range of outcomes, like his ceiling, is easily a top 10.
Yeah, he could have a breakout
year. He could get up into that. He could get up into that top 10, no problem. It's just, I think the fact that this team is, you always got to defend Patrick Mahomes, but because of the issues with the wide receiver core of this team, it might be a little easier to key in on Pacheco. For defenses to key in on him. But if that team comes out and they have, I don't know, Marquise Brown gets healthy, Rashee Rice doesn't get suspended, and you have Kelsey there and they're throwing the ball around, watch out because that's just going to open things up big time for Pacheco. Yeah. And he could be in for a big year. That's just, like I said, you want to invest in great offenses, and Patrick Mahomes' offense is definitely an offense I want a piece of.
I love that. I love that pick. I love that move. My next guy, sorry, I was looking at my notes here because this is where it gets tricky, right? Now, do I want to go with someone who I'm not 100% sure about? Or do I go with someone like Rachaad White? You know what? I'm going to go with the guy I'm not 100% sure about because I'm an idiot. I'm going to go with James Cook from Buffalo. I think he is better than what he's played as. I think that Buffalo this year has to go all in, right? Because it's do or die for them. I think we're over is Josh Allen a great QB? Is he awful? He's obviously talented, but does he make bad decisions? How long are we going to keep this Buffalo team together? I think James Cook is going to play out of his mind. I'm going to take James Cook.
I do like James Cook. I'm with you on that. I think he's one of the big breakout candidates this year. I think he's going to be this is another offense that is lacking some talent at the wide receiver position. People are looking at like guys like Dalton Kincaid, Cook as going to be some of the guys to break out for that offense. They're going to be a good offense just because it's Josh Allen. So I think they're going to be a pretty good team, but they're expecting big things from this guy. So bet on talent.
Yeah, but I imagine this guy's as your RB2. Oof. That'd be nice.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All day. I wouldn't have him as I wouldn't like him as my RB1 necessarily, but an RB2.
I mean, if you go with a 0 RB draft where you go heavy on wide receivers, he's an amazing RB1 for a setup like that. Let's say you go 3 wide receivers to start your draft. Getting him, that's incredible. If you can get him, or 2 wide receivers, you get him in the 3rd in a snake draft. I think that's a pretty solid setup.
Yeah. All right, next pick.
Next guy is a guy, I'm going to go with the guy that you were on the fence on,
Rachaad White. Yeah, very good.
This is a guy that I don't think he's the most talented running back, but he's one of those. He's a Swiss Army knife of that offense. I remember last year And I play a lot of daily fantasy, and the joke was he was the poor man's Christian McCaffrey, just because
Yeah.
of all like he got like all the touches, all the passing game. Like he would just like, but he just wasn't nearly as
Well,
explosive.
yeah.
Like I think he's another guy that's just he's going to be one of those dudes. Great RB for a zero RB build. He's one of those guys that's just going to get all the work. He's also a good RB2 if you already have an RB1.
Great RB2.
He's one of those guys that you have there, and you just know that all right, he's not going to get me 30 any given week unless he scores 2-3 touchdowns. But he's got a very high floor.
Yeah.
Just because of the amount of touches he's going to get, they're going to get he's going to touch the ball 20 times a game, just about every between passes and rushes. He's going to touch the ball 20 times a game. So on that, your floor for that player is what 15 points.
Yeah, 15.
Depending on your format. 10,
Yeah.
15 points, which is
I'll take it all day.
Could
From
be
an
all you
RB2,
need.
from an RB2,
Yeah.
I'll take that all day. Okay, I'm going to go with Joe Mixon here from Houston. I think Joe Mixon is a great running back, especially like where we're talking about him, there's value as an RB2. I think he ended up being RB5 last year at the end of the season. Guys, absolute unit. Texans don't look super exciting. They have CJ Stroud, but I'm not.
They're going to be a fun offense, though, man. It's going to be a high-powered offense.
I mean, it's going to be a fun offense. We saw them last year. They did that little playoff round. We saw CJ Stroud come into his own. I'm excited to see this year what he does quarterback-wise on Stroud. But I think Joe Mixon's how do I explain this? Like a great balanced guy. He brings them down to a normal level. He's going to be their most consistent player. I like Joe Mixon here, especially in that RB2, lower RB1, higher RB2 spots.
Yeah, look, my only concern with Joe Mixon is we've seen him on the Bengals, which was a better offense.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's good, but you've always been waiting for him to really make that big jump and get into that top tier RB. And I just feel like we haven't seen it from him. He's starting to get a little long in the tooth, starting to get a little, for running backs, a little older. I think he's going to be, he's going to be the guy in that offense. I don't think Dameon Pierce is going to be that much of a factor with him.
Right.
So, and I think it'll be a good offense. So, yeah, that's another one of those picks is, you want a piece of a high-powered offense. Yeah, you can get him. I prefer a running back a wide receiver from that offense over him.
Sure.
But, yeah, I think he's fine. And I think it's fine where we're putting him.
Yeah. All right.
Next pick. Now I think now's when it starts to get a little fun.
Now you're looking at mid RB2, RB2, high RB2, mid RB2.
I'm going to go with a guy that I personally like a lot. I had him on a lot of teams last year. Ken Walker
from Seattle.
Kenneth Walker, baby.
Yeah.
I think there's another dude that is another hard runner like Pacheco. The thing with him is he's also I love him because he breaks these big plays, dude. This guy just goes. He's one of those guys that he breaks these 40-yard runs on the reg.
Mm-hmm.
So I think also new system, new offense.
Yeah.
But I still think he's going to be the guy there. I know you have Charbonnet there also, but I still think that, and they are going to split some time, but I think he's still going to be the guy. And if I have to pick one of the two, again, I think it depends on where you can get Ken Walker, depending on how much or what round you get him in. I do think that this guy's going to be I like taking him just because of his big play, like his big play potential.
What do you think if we were auction drafting him? What do you think his value is going to be set at?
I wouldn't pay more than 30. He's got to be in the 20s to me.
20s, yeah, I agree. I think if you could maybe get him for 26, 27, that's where my budget would be for him. I think what you nailed it though. His first 2 years, he was an absolute unit. He had almost the same exact stats his first 2 years. He's good. He's a good running back. He's consistent. You're gonna get like an RB. Literally an RB2. As an RB2, he's a great pick. I absolutely agree with you. He's a top 20 running back in the NFL.
He's also the goal line back there. Like
he's going to get the goal.
He's going to get the goal line touches there. So if you're going to pick a guy, in my opinion, if you have a backfield like this where things could be split, I do think Kenneth Walker is he'll have the upper hand on the split. Maybe it's like a 60-40. I don't think it's going to be like a pure 50-50 kind of thing. But I do know that this isn't one of those situations where, like the Jahmyr Gibbs Montgomery last year, where Jahmyr Gibbs would get all the touches, and then outside of the 20s, and then they get into the red zone, and it was Montgomery just hammering it in. I think that Walker's the bigger back. He's going to get the goal line touches. So I like him here over some of the other guys that are in this tier.
Yeah, I agree with you. So I'm gonna go. Well, I'm just gonna pick them because I'm worried that you're gonna pick them, and then I'm left with none of them. I'm gonna go ahead and right here I'm gonna get Raheem Mostert. Um,
Ooh.
I think we talked about it when we talked about A-Chain. Raheem Mostert, yes, older running back, but he just came off his best career season he's ever had. Still has all the speed in the world. Has a Dolphins team that likes to run. We also have an super explosive receiving core this year. I think if Tua's throwing the ball, our running backs are going to be running like crazy because they're going to have that opportunity. I think our offensive line has gotten a little bit better this year. I like Mostert here, especially if you could get him for $25 as an RB2 option. It's a great pickup. There's only one other person I was thinking of, but I wanted to come to Mostert. I didn't want to be without a Dolphin.
I got a question for you. Who do you think is going to be the dude, like the starting running back for the Dolphins? Do you think it's going to be Mostert, or
I think it's going to be Mostert. I think it's going to be Mostert just from what I've seen in training camp and what I've heard. It's going to be Mostert, and then A-Chain's going to come in. They're going to split touches, though. I think at the end of the day, it's probably going to be 50-50.
Yeah, I told you, if it's 50-50, A-Chain top 5 RB.
A-Chain
top 5 RB if he's 50-50.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Imagine giving A-Chain 15 touches a game.
He's so efficient, dude. He's so efficient. That's honestly what you nailed it, though. The biggest thing there is how many times are they going to run the ball? They are going to run it a lot. But when you
they do like to run it.
But when you have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and then now we have OBJ and what's the name of the tight end? Najee Smith.
I was gonna say it's gotta be Johnny, your FIU guy.
Yeah, dude. How many times are you gonna freaking throw the ball?
I mean, they're gonna run the ball. They're gonna run the ball plenty. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll see.
Don't forget. Tua's a game manager. He's not a gunslinger.
Game manager. Shut up. Last pick. Who do you got?
Last pick. I am going to go with. I've been going back and forth, but I'm gonna go with Zamir White.
Zamir White. All right, man. Vegas, baby.
I'm going with Zamir White. This is a little bit of a risky one, but I guess down here in this tier, there's plenty of risk with all these guys. This is a dude that they basically handed him the reins, I think, with 4 games left last year, and he was the only guy they were giving the ball to in that backfield, and he crushed it. He crushed it those 4 games. Now, they basically, you saw they got rid of Josh Jacobs. They didn't bring anyone in to really, be a factor. They, said he's going to be the starting running back. Excuse me, give me a second.
It's all right.
This Antonio Pierce offense, they like to run the ball. They're going to run the ball, and they're going to run the ball with him. So yeah. I think this is one of those guys that maybe a little bit like Rachaad White, where not the most talented dude, but he's going to get you there just based off volume. And
I'm just
the only other thing that concerns me with him is that this is a Vegas team that's not going to be very good.
Right.
They're going to be playing from behind a lot, and he wasn't a big time pass catcher. Those last 4 games of last year were wonky. I think they won 1 game with I don't even think they completed a pass and they won a game.
Yeah, I think if he does well, it's gonna be a surprise. Like, not saying like
everyone like all these nerds that run all the fantasy numbers and the Excel sheets and all that stuff. They're all saying basically if you project him to have the same amount of carries he had, the same workload that he had those last 4 games,
then he's gonna be a beast. Yeah,
that he's gonna be good. He's gonna be in this top 20. He'll be a top 20 RB.
I'm going to go with my last pick, a not super sexy pick, a boring guy, but that's nice when you have him on your team and he just gives you consistent scores. I'm going to go with James Conner here from Arizona. Dude had a great great game last year. Great season. What did I say?
Great. You said great career last year and a great game last year. You never said season.
I'm an idiot. A great season last year. A great season last year. We're talking about like somebody who's not super sexy. He's a little bit older, but he's in Arizona. He's gonna get the touches. I know you have.
You think he's gonna stay healthy?
That's the thing. James Conner historically has gone down once a year,
and he's getting old.
He's getting older, but I feel like he has an opportunity here to split. He's splitting touches there with Trey Benson. I believe. But I like him here.
I don't know. I don't think he's going to split. I think he's, at least for now, he's the guy. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, listen.
I think Trey Benson is going to get in there a bit. Personally,
Yeah.
I'd probably, if I had to draft, depending on where you get him from,
Yeah.
I may take a shot at Trey Benson over him because if he gets hurt,
Oh,
you got
don't
that,
get me wrong. If you get James Conner, get Trey Benson. That's a 1 and 2. That's a great.
yeah,
That's a great 1-2 on the bench. Any big names that we have? Okay, so those were our top 20 guys.
yeah. No, I don't feel. Yeah, there's plenty of guys that we missed, but I'm not sure if
Those are our top 20 guys. Big names that weren't on there that I have at least. Ramondre Stevenson, Montgomery, Pollard. How do you feel about Ezekiel Elliott this year?
Dude, what are we in 2020? What are we talking about? I'm talking about Ezekiel Elliott.
Listen, you had DeAndre Swift. You have a lot of.
Yeah, I was gonna say guys more that are a little more surprising are like DeAndre Swift,
Najee. We don't have
Ramondre, Najee,
Aaron Jones,
Pollard. Oh, Aaron Jones. That's another one.
Yeah, there's some guys that we didn't mention. Obviously, we picked what our version of our top 20 is. There are some good options out there for an RB2. After that, I wouldn't. Running backs right now aren't great flex players unless you're a loaded running back room. Right now, the league's kind of dominated in wide receivers. I believe so. What do you think?
Just the league's kind of just changed. It's a passing league. There's plenty of good running backs, but they're a dime a dozen these days. That's why you seeing. It's not like before where you have all these bell cow workhorse backs.
Yeah.
You see a lot less of that. It's a lot more running back by committee. You're seeing 2 and 3 guys in a backfield, and they all get, maybe it's not 50-50, but you'll see the starting running back maybe only get 60-70% of the carries.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that's just the direction the position has gone. So can we talk about some fun positions now?
Let's go talk about, we already talked about our top 10s. They were all fun. Let's go into quarterbacks. Now, for quarterbacks, I think we shouldn't go past 10 because after that, it gets boring. Most people aren't playing with.
Yeah, let's do five and five on quarterbacks.
Let's do 5 each, 5 on 5. I'll start this time just because I was so nice to you last time.
Who do you think is going to be the number 1 quarterback, number 1 overall quarterback?
Do you want me to be honest, or do you want me to say who I actually think is going to be?
Yeah, who are you going to throw out? You get to go first, and whoever you're picking is going to. You are saying that this player is going to be the number 1 quarterback in fantasy. We got to differentiate. I'm going
to get made so much fun of here
because Patrick Mahomes is the number 1 quarterback, but he's not the number 1 fantasy quarterback.
Right, number 1 fantasy is going to be Josh Allen. I think he's done it 4 years in a row. He's probably going to do it again. The dude passes all day. He rushes all day. I think it's going to be Josh Allen.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you there. I think this year you can make arguments for other guys, but I just look.
It's consistent.
You remember last year? You remember last year when they the Bills looked awful the first half of the year.
Yeah,
and then they had to win the last 6 games, and it was just basically Josh Allen putting a Superman cape on and literally just winning the games for them. He was barely throwing touch. He was just running the ball in half the time, flying over guys, diving into the end zone. He was doing everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think the only other quarterback that kind of has, there's maybe only other 2 guys that have that kind of mode where they can just take over a game like that, and it's Mahomes and Lamar. But from a fantasy perspective, and I still think Mahomes is the dude in the NFL. Let's be honest.
I think Patrick Mahomes is the best.
These guys won a Super Bowl with no one on their team.
Yeah.
But from a fantasy perspective, you got a guy that just has a total gunslinger mentality.
Yeah.
In Josh Allen, he's big, he's physical, he runs the ball like hell, he's super athletic, right. And I think you're spot on there.
Yeah, it's gonna be Josh Allen.
I'm not gonna hate on it.
As a Dolphins fan, it hurts to say it.
Yeah.
But Josh Allen is a great fantasy QB, and if I had him on my team, I would be probably happy, except for two games out of the season.
All right, so I'll go number 2. I think the number 2 QB. This one, I'm not sure if I don't know if this is going to be a hot take or not, but I'm going Jalen Hurts.
That's a great take. It's not a hot take. It's a great take.
I know. I'm just saying. A lot of people say Lamar or something over him. I know last year Hurts had a real down year. The year before that, the guy was an absolute monster.
He was
He was a beast. Yeah, a couple fantasy championships that season. And I think the new offense is going to be a big deal for him this year. I think that's what that team needed. That offense went super stale last year. You saw it, but this team is super talented right now. They have two stud receivers in AJ Brown and Smith, and then now they got Saquon. So
Yeah.
this team is just it's so locked and loaded.
The only worry
If
thing about
if
the
you had
Eagles. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, to me it's just all it's all going to be on their offensive system, on the play calling and how it
On
was because
Kellen,
that was horrible last year.
that's it. That's it.
But
You have a new offensive
there's
coordinator.
the rumor is they changed it, and if they changed it, like if it's different, I mean, you had defenses calling out the plays ahead of time. They were like saying like, "Dude, this is the easiest team to defend."
Yeah.
Like, and you had guys like AJ Brown and even Jalen Hurts coming out saying like this, like they know what we're doing before we snap the ball.
Yeah.
So that offense was super stale last year. I think a new coordinator, if they picked up the system well, watch out, dude. I think you're gonna get a high flying Hurts again.
Here's my thing with Jalen Hurts is you get an RB1 and a QB1 all at the same time. The guy's a beast. This guy squats 600 freaking pounds. They're gonna do the tush push. I know Jason Kelsey's not there, but that offensive line is still stacked. I love Jalen Hurts. I had him last year. I loved him last year. I'm gonna love him again this year. I think my third pick is obviously gonna be Patrick Mahomes. I think if you get Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is the man. Yes, he's not the best fantasy QB, but he is the best QB. He's going to get the ball in the air. He's going to make the plays. You have Travis Kelce. You have a team that has invested so much love into him. I like Pat Mahomes here, or it's probably going to be the guy that you pick after this. But I don't really like Patrick Mahomes. We're talking about a QB that's consistent and is going to get you points.
Yeah, look, we've seen both sides of this. We've seen the Patrick Mahomes back when he had those Tyreek Hill, Andy Reid offenses where the dude was just like it was auto lock 35 a game, like 35 fantasy points a game. The guy was just slinging it every year. But the last couple of seasons, we've seen him not be that guy as far as a fantasy quarterback. He's an incredible guy. He's an incredible quarterback just because like last year you saw him. They won a Super Bowl and they were winning games and with defense and him and Travis Kelce. Because those receivers, I can't tell you how many games we watched a receiver get thrown a dime. Like Valdez Scantling, I think he just dropped another touchdown pass right now, like another one. Like that dude, I don't know how many times Mahomes would throw him like a 60-yard dime.
I know, dude.
And the dude would just drop it wide open, and he would just like seal hands.
And we'll get to it when we do receivers, but Xavier Worthy is a super fast receiver that he'll have, and Rashee Rice also very fast.
I think Rashee Rice came out.
Don't ask me, bro. I called what was his name?
Hamir.
Don't ask. I don't know how to say names. I don't know how to say names.
That's the best one. Like, that's the most highly thing you've ever said. Yamir, dude, it's Jameer. What are you talking about?
Listen, I used to call him the running back from the Dolphins. Achane. It is what it is.
But look, Mahomes. The only thing that worries me about him, again, we're splitting hairs here. We're talking about why he's 3 versus the 3 fantasy QB versus the 4, in my opinion.
Right.
Why I think. I'm gonna say Lamar Jackson next, but why I think Lamar is better than him, is because you had hope with Marquise Brown and Rice, and they drafted Worthy, even though that dude gets. Have you seen the highlights of Worthy getting fucking tossed at the line press coverage?
That dude needs
flying.
They need to start injecting him.
They are throwing him. There was a clip of him in camp, and they just tossed him.
Yeah, no, he's super.
Just toss
but he's so fast. They have to catch him.
So they'll have to scheme him balls. And look, I don't want to doubt Mahomes, but I also think he's going to run. He's running a lot less. You know, they're going to protect him. Kelsey's getting up there in age, so I just don't think those 30-point games that you need from a top 3 QB are going to come as often. And the fact that the lack of running, I think that factors into it a lot. I like my fantasy quarterbacks to have a rushing component to them, just because it gives you a nice floor. So that's why I like my next guy, Lamar. I would put him at 3 and Mahomes at 4, just because again, we're talking about 4 MVP candidates.
About the close.
These are the best of the best
ever. Yeah.
But if you guys split hairs, I'd go Lamar there. I think the dude is again, and now with Derrick Henry, they have to factor that in. He's going to be able to throw. It's going to open up a lot for him. It's going to open up throwing lanes because they're going to have to stack the box a little more. Like that team's going to be getting harder and harder to defend. So you had Zay Flowers last year have a breakout year. Andrews was having an amazing year until he got hurt. And then you always know Lamar's threat with his legs. That's always a huge problem. Like the
Yeah.
dude is,
He's the most
you know,
athletic
he's the
player
most
in the NFL.
athletic. Yeah, he's the most athletic guy. He's definitely the most athletic QB in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a unit. A
Yeah.
dog.
Could you imagine his athleticism with AR's size or Josh Allen's size? Oh, daddy.
Oh, daddy. No, I love Lamar Jackson here. All right, so those are the big four dogs. The rest get sexy. Like after we're talking about those big top four keys,
Now we can have real debates and
there's some guys that could do really well, really bad. I'm gonna put here.
I'm dunking on you if you say Dak at any point on this.
I'm not gonna say Dak. I'm not gonna say Dak.
Thank God.
I'm between two people here, and I don't know which one I'm gonna say. But I'm gonna go. Okay, so everything we just talked about, Lamar Jackson. I'm going to talk about Anthony Richardson, just like a younger version of him, an unproven version of him. He is a beast with the ball. He is talk about it like an RB1, QB1 situation, right?
Yeah, I'm not even going to argue on that. He was my 5 guy too, so let it rip.
So I have Anthony Richardson here. He's a beast. Again, same thing with Lamar Jackson, just unproven, right? This is his second year in the league, right?
Yeah, his second year. Like you saw him the last year, he had what? He played 2. Again,
he played for like 5 games, and he like
it's a lot of hype. It was 2 games. Literally, I think it was like 2 games, and then he blew his shoulder.
I think out of the 4 games he played, he only finished 1, something like that.
He had 30 fantasy points in those 2 games where he played the whole game. Those first 2 games. Yeah. The only concern I have with him is but for me, it's more the arm talent. He's one of those that he's a better runner than thrower right now. Yeah. But he's one of those guys that his running ability is going to be so elite. We already saw it that how Lamar Jackson, when he first came out, like the guy was running everywhere and like people didn't know if he could throw. If that dude just throws for 200 yards a game and 1 TD and runs for another like 100 yards every game, like
I'm in it. I'm in it for him.
You got a top 5 QB. Like his floor, and the other thing, his floor is so high. It's so high because of that rushing. Like he's an absolute monster.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
Did you see that he came out? I saw it this morning. A quote that he had said that he could beat LeBron in a dunk contest because LeBron's 40. It was followed by a highlight. I know I love the guy's confidence though, but it was followed by AR clips of him just dunking the ball, and it's pretty impressive. The dude is an absolute freak of an athlete.
Oh, Richardson?
Yeah.
Oh no,
he was dunking it. He was dunking the basketball. He looked like an NBA player dunking the ball.
Yeah, no, he's great. He's great, but he's not going to be LeBron. He's not going to be LeBron. All right, so you did. Oh no, it's your pick. I'm sorry, I about to took your spot.
Yeah,
you're gonna say Dak. I know you love Dak, dude. Go ahead, say it. I
fucking hate Dak.
Say Dak right now.
Dak. I don't even think Dak's a top 10 quarterback this year.
Go for it. All right, so number 6.
This will be number 6. I'm gonna go with I go back and forth on this one, but I guess we'll go with CJ Stroud.
I don't hate it at all. I like CJ Stroud.
Look at his numbers last year. What?
Dude was a beast. That's what I'm saying. I can't talk shit because he had a great year last year. I don't know why. There's something with CJ Stroud that I don't know why. I have zero faith in him.
Really?
It's crazy. I know it's got.
You sure it's not Bryce Young you're thinking about?
No.
CJ Stroud was a beast.
No, it's not Bryce Young. There's just something with CJ Stroud. Like he doesn't pass my eye test. It's not that he's not a good QB. It's just I don't think of him as like a leader.
My only concern with him is that he doesn't run the ball like I normally do. So I was actually between him and Kyler for next. But I'm putting CJ Stroud just because I think it's a better team. I think the Texans, they're a playoff team. I think they're just a better overall football team than the Cardinals. I don't have a lot of faith in the Cardinals team. I still think Kyler's going to be a good QB, but I think CJ Stroud is. I think if that guy has a year like he did last year or better, like dude, that guy was throwing for 300 every game.
It was crazy.
He was
wild,
tossing the ball around. I do know that he threw for a lot of passing touchdowns last year. I don't know, maybe with Joe Mixon, that I mean, they were throwing from the fucking 2-yard line last year. They had no running game. So maybe he has a regression with passing touchdowns. But
Mhm.
if you get last year's version of CJ Stroud, I think he's a safe play at
Yeah.
6.
All right. So I'm gonna go with not gonna. I'm not gonna do Dak Prescott yet. I'm gonna do Kyler Murray here. I think Kyler Murray's a lot of fun. He's got that running, passing game that we like in a QB1. If he
I'm
stays
with you.
healthy,
I told you I was between CJ and Kyler there.
yeah, I think with the name with that rookie receiver they got, Marvin Harrison Jr., I think he's got weapons, and I'm expecting a lot of stuff from Kyler Murray this year. I don't think there's much to say about him.
Yeah.
We've seen him play
Also,
already.
also from a fantasy perspective, another reason why I like Kyler, one, he can run the ball.
Right.
But second thing, that defense is going to be absolute trash. Arizona's
True.
defense is going to be trash.
They're gonna have the ball a lot.
I don't know if you've looked. I forgot what I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about that defense, and they are like their cornerbacks are laughable.
Yeah.
So that team. So my point is that team is going to get torched on defense. They're going to be in shootouts for them to win. They're going to be playing from behind a lot, and they play 13 dome games next year.
Wow.
So you're going to be Kyler Murray with better weapons than he did last year.
With whether or not
probably actually the best set of weapons you've given Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Probably the best set of them. So just that guy chasing.
It's just is he going to be healthy?
When he's chasing, playing from behind, is that obviously health is a thing. Say he's not. Say he's healthy all year.
Yeah.
Like this dude's going to be playing from behind, having to chuck the ball everywhere, running around. They're going to need to score touchdowns to stay in games. I think he's just he's going to be in a good situation for fantasy points to be scored.
Yeah, I think they're in a good spot. I think he's in a good spot to be even a top 5 key.
I 100% think that. Like I could see him. He's the one guy that I could see jumping Stroud and AR without any issues and being like the 5th best, just because of that. Like if that team is, they're going to be in a position where if Marvin Harrison turns out to be the monster that everyone's making him out to be, which reports from camp are that the dude's an absolute freak.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he's going to put up fantasy points.
Yeah, I like him. I like him a lot, and I think you could get him for a good value too, in the sense of QBs. Especially if you're doing auction draft, you could probably get him for under $15.
Yeah.
All right, number 8. Who do you have?
I'm actually going to go with, and this one, another one. I go back and forth. I was between two guys, but I'm going to go Jordan Love.
I like Jordan Love here. It
was between him and Burrow, and my reasoning for picking Love over Burrow is just from I think Burrow is better than Love. I think Burrow's he's actually a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. But from a fantasy perspective, he's a pocket passer, and I think the era of pocket passers is being top fantasy guys is over. For Burrow to be a top 5 fantasy QB, he's got to throw a million touchdowns. He doesn't have rushing. He's not going to run the ball. So that's where I gave the nudge to Jordan Love. I think this offense, we saw what they did last year. I think they're a better offense this year. And we saw the numbers Love put up last year, especially towards the end of the season. That offense was electric. Yeah. Dude's athletic. He can run. He could throw. He's got every throw. So there's a lot of high expectations for this offense. If they need him, he's there.
I have a lot of expectations from Jordan Love this year. I like Jordan Love a lot. I think you could get him for a good value. Same thing, under that $15. You could probably even get him a little bit lower. You could probably sit on him and wait for your later rounds in the draft. I like him a lot. I like Green Bay a lot this year. I'm going to go with my number 9 pick. I'm going to go with Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, we finally got him starting the season in a full season. Healthy. He looks good. He looks like he's excited. He looks like he wants to play. I like Joe Burrow here. I mean, he has all the talent in the world, right? Like, why not?
Yeah. Look, we know. Look, I just said it. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, like pure quarterbacks in the NFL. I put him up there with Mahomes. Like him and Mahomes have that little rivalry in the AFC. I think you're spot on with Joe Burrow. We saw him. He played 10 games last year. I think he's threw 15 TDs.
Yeah.
So he was on track. I think the 2 years before that, he threw over 30, I think 34, 35 TDs. So he was on track for that again. If he comes out again and throws 30 plus TDs this year, I think you're locked in.
Like 4,500 yards and 30 TDs.
You're I think he's fine. If you're going to get a pocket passer, that's the dude. You know what I mean?
All right. So we're on our last QB. Is this where you pick up Dak Prescott?
No, I'm not picking him. I don't think I'm not going Dak Prescott.
All right, go.
He's trash, bro. He's trash. Get out of
Okay.
here with this Dak Prescott
Okay.
love.
Okay. All right. Go. Thank
Actually,
you.
I actually do think I do think Dak is in the conversation for this spot, but I'm gonna have some fun with it. I'm gonna put one of the rookies in here.
Oh, I thought you were gonna throw it too. Go ahead. Who do you think?
I guess you could put Tua, but fantasy wise, I think Tua's better than Dak though. Fucking
Okay.
pussy. Dak sucks. I'm gonna go Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams from Chicago. All righty.
Buy into the hype. They loaded up that offense with a ton of weapons. If that guy is 80%
Of what
the
they
players
advertise.
that they advertise, you got a top 10 QB easy. The guy can run, he can throw. And again, if this is a offense that is going to be as high powered as they say, they have all these receivers now. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, who apparently he's fat now. So I heard that report yesterday. Keenan Allen's fat apparently.
Oh god, he probably weighs like the next. He's probably 5 pounds heavier, and he's fat. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen the pictures, but that's what they're saying. But
Right.
what's the other guy?
Odunze
From Washington, the rookie.
Rome. Yeah.
And they got a Swift in the backfield. So this is supposed to be a high-powered offense, and we've seen Caleb Williams in the past. He's got
Heisman
the
winner,
huge
dude.
height. Yeah, Heisman winners, got all the throws, can make plays on his feet. So if he's 80% of what he's advertised, I think you got a pretty damn good fantasy quarterback.
Yeah, I think
Maybe not great in real life. I don't know if the Bears are going to win games because they're the Chicago Bears. Could be Kyler Murray situation where not a good team, but just a good fantasy situation.
Yeah, he's hyped up. How much would you spend on him on an auction?
How much?
It's a risk. He's a risk, right? Like he's a rookie QB.
Honestly, it's like $5, man. Like I'm not.
That's about.
But I don't really spending more than I don't like spending that much on QB unless it's one of the top guys. Yeah, $5 is like a big number for me.
Yeah. I don't think I would spend more than $3 on him. I would love to have him on my bench and see what he does. Like if I had a Dak Prescott to start and I had him on my bench, that's a solid QB room.
Look, the only reason why I'm hitting on Dak is just because I don't know. I think that offense is going to throw a ton because their running back is Zeke, and I don't think he can be like that workhorse. They're not going to just build their offense around him. The offense is going to be built around CeeDee, but now we don't even know if CeeDee is going to play.
I know.
At least for now.
What a transition. What a transition you throw us into. Let's talk wide receivers, baby. The most explosive things in the NFL this year. I think fantasy has turned in from a running back heavy team. A lot of people used to like having 3 running backs that would dominate. I think it's turned into a wide receiver league where you are drafting 5 wide receivers, sometimes even 6, to stack your team. Talk to me. Who are you? I'm a super nice guy. I'm letting you go first again.
This is easy for me.
It is. Please tell me it's who I think it is.
God, it's the number 1 player in the NFL. Who the fuck else are you going to put in? All right?
Oh, baby. Tyreek Hill, number 1. I can't even be mad about
In my opinion, he should be the number 1 overall pick. The number 1 player in the NFL. How are we taking CMC over him? But
I love Tyreek Hill. I think he's going to be so good this year, dude. I have high hopes.
Yeah, again, so I've had Tyreek on a fantasy team every year. Going back to the Chiefs, like I always have a share of that dude. He's just too explosive. I try to pick him up at least one of my fantasy. Again, I'm like in 77 fantasy leagues. If people don't know,
too many.
So I always have some Tyreek Hill. He's the most fun guy to have on your team in fantasy. But I think honestly it was a toss up between him and CeeDee Lamb. I'm going homer on it, so I'm saying Tyreek. That's who I would take over him. Also, there's the concerns of CeeDee now with the contract BS or whatever. Right. But dude, the dude is he didn't finish. He didn't finish as the number 1 receiver last year because he got banged up at the end of the year. But the dude was on track for an absolutely historical year as a wide receiver. So, and I think him with this Mike McDaniel's offense, just get out of the fucking way, man.
Get the
Tyreek train's coming, baby.
Get the fuck out of the way. Absolutely. I think we talked about it. That receiving core is so good. He's the best player in the NFL. We're talking about speed all around. He is gonna get his targets. He's gonna get his catches. He's gonna get his yards. I like Tyreek Hill.
And adding pieces like we did, like we have now a tight end that can catch and And we also have adding OBJ. I know these aren't these aren't game breakers, but these are guys that, with all the talent this team has now, they're guys that you have to pay attention to also. So like now, what are you gonna do? You're gonna double Tyreek and double Waddle.
Yeah.
In that
Okay.
situation, I don't think OBJ is a top wide receiver in the NFL anymore. But if you give me Tyreek,
He can catch the ball. He can catch the ball. Exactly.
Give me OBJ in single coverage. Like, so my point
And
is
he's your check down. He's your check down guy. Like, okay, we'll be
these
fine.
are just guys that, like, there's so many guys on this team that defenses are have to pay attention to, that it's just going to make it. It's just going to open up Tyreek even more. Not that he needed it, but it's just that much more now. So
yeah, exactly.
you know,
It's not that he needs to
and
be
it's another year
up, like,
another year with Tua and the McDaniel system
extension, so he's not going anywhere for a while. They're doing well. I really like that move.
Lock and load, baby.
I'm gonna take the risk at number 2, and I'm gonna get CeeDee Lamb. I know he hasn't signed a contract, but we're talking about when he's playing, he's incredible. He's an alpha, right? Like, he's an absolute beast, an absolute unit.
He was the number 1 receiver last year.
And he's the number 1 receiver in our hearts. He's America's number 1 receiver.
I also think that he's going to play week 1. I don't think he's going to hold out past week 1. It's just,
I don't know, bro.
That would just be dumb of him.
That's a good bet, though. Like, CeeDee Lamb as a top 5 wide receiver, if he plays, is a good bet.
Yeah, I think if he plays, I think he's top 2 receiver. I don't think he's going to. I don't think anyone's ever repeated as back-to-back years as the number 1 wide receiver in a while, maybe since Megatron or something like that. But I do think that, I mean, that offense only, there's less talent on the offense this year than there was last year. So he's just gonna be the focal point of that entire offense.
Let's go for it. Number 3. What you got?
I'm gonna go
Jamar Chase, Cincinnati, dude. I like that move.
I think this dude is he was the he was in this tier pre last year when Joe Burrow got hurt. The season before, I think 2021 and 22, the guy was an absolute monster.
Yeah.
So I think this year with a healthy Burrow again, you got him back. I think Jamar Chase is a freak of nature, like a physical specimen. He's like DK Metcalf type physical specimen freak.
Absolutely.
So I think he's an easy number 3.
I'm going to go number 4.
Just lock and load.
Yeah, I love it. I think with, again, receivers, it's really easy because these players we're talking about, you know who they are, how nasty they are. It's going to be so, like, it's so much fun.
We're splitting hairs here again. Draft all of these guys.
Yeah, if you could get them, get all these guys. I'm going to go with my number 4 pick. I'm going to go Justin Jefferson. I think Justin Jefferson, his only is who's throwing him the ball. But if he gets the ball, he's incredible. He's fast. He's got that Tyreek Hill-esque speed. Got the skills. I like Justin Jefferson here a lot. I think you can get him for a good value.
When he's had a decent QB giving him the ball, we've seen him be the number 1 receiver. He's been the top dog before, like overall. So I think the only reason why he's getting a little bit of a knock this year is that. And now he's out for the season, but I actually think this kind of helps. I think this helps Jetta a little bit because he's now, not that Sam Darnold's a great quarterback or anything, but I think he can throw he can get the ball.
Yeah.
He can get the ball to Justin Jefferson a lot better than McCarthy could. That guy he's just good at handing the ball off. Like, I've never seen him throw a good pass. I'm sorry, just haven't. Not saying that he can't, but I've never seen it with the Michigan offense. Hadn't seen it in practice. Didn't see it in preseason games. So
I love it. All right, number 5.
I'm going to go with Amon-Ra, the Sun God.
Amon-Ra, baby. The Sun God himself.
This dude is a PPR machine. He's a lock for 100-plus catches, and I don't see him slowing down. 120 catches, actually, I think. And I think also another team plays in a dome, high-powered offense, which is crazy to talk about the Lions being a high-powered offense.
I know.
They're such a fun team.
Yeah. They've taken over. Like, I kind of root for them, and when it's not the Dolphins, I root for them to win. I want to see them. I want to see them in the Super Bowl.
Agreed. Against the Dolphins, I would love to see them lose to the Dolphins in the Super Bowl.
It'd be a beautiful thing.
41-38 game. There'll be so many points in that game.
I'm gonna go next pick. I'm gonna go AJ Brown.
Yeah, that was an easy one.
I think AJ Brown is a beast. We're talking about Jalen Hurts, how good he is. That's his number 1 receiver. I like AJ Brown here a lot. We've seen him play, I think, already a few years in the league, and he's shown that he is one of the best receivers in the league. So I'm going to put AJ Brown here. I think you could get him at good value. You could probably get him for a little less than 40. And I think it's a great steal.
Yeah, look, again, we're splitting hairs here, but AJ Brown's a guy that I could see, he could easily be put up there right under Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
I think that the fact the question marks around the Philly offense, I think that's part of the issue.
Mm-hmm.
But if this Philly offense came out last year and they were like high flying like they were the year before, I think we'd be putting him up there above Jefferson and Amon-Ra. It's just there's a few question marks, but this is another guy that like he's another DK Metcalf, Jamar Chase, physical specimen. Like, these guys, look them up. Look them up. Like
Men.
without a
Those are
shirt
men.
on, like they are fucking bears. Not even
Yeah.
men. Like, these are like fucking huge.
Bears.
Like they're monsters, bro. Look at the size of them. They're just like, bro, they're huge with 2% body fat.
No one is
it's
scarier
scary.
No one's scarier than DK. He's so big.
Agreed, but these are the guys. These are the other guys that look just like him. Like, they model themselves after DK.
It's true. All right, number 7. Who do you have?
Number 7, I'm actually gonna go. I'm gonna go with. I don't know if this will be a shock to some people because I know they like Puka and some of these guys, but I'm going Garrett Wilson.
No, I don't. Dude,
I'm going Garrett Wilson.
Aaron Rodgers, healthy Aaron Rodgers all day.
Yeah, with a healthy Rodgers, I think Garrett Wilson he can have a huge breakout year. I think he is the best candidate for a monster breakout year. We've seen this guy put up good fantasy numbers with you and me throwing him the ball. Like, yeah, it's the same thing. Zach Wilson is no different from you and me. All right, I'm sorry. Get out of here.
Yes, you're right.
Like, just garbage quarterbacks. All right, the Jets have just had one bad quarterback after another, and I think we haven't seen him with a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. And we saw what Aaron Rodgers can do when he has a guy like the kind of numbers that a stud receiver can do when they have Aaron Rodgers. We saw it with Davante Adams. So I think this is just a younger, faster version of Davante Adams, Aaron Rodgers connection. So I think you're in for a big year.
I absolutely agree with you.
Garrett Wilson.
I think you nailed it. Like, I think the Davante Adams Garrett Wilson comparison is perfect. I actually have Davante Adams ranked at the same level as Garrett Wilson in the same tier. If you could get him for like under $30, that's a steal and a half to have him as your wide receiver 1. I'm good. Instead of Davante Adams, though, I'm going to go with Puka just because we're talking about he just came off an all-time rookie season for a wide receiver. I really like Puka here. You could get Puka for under $30. His maybe an injury concern here and there, little hammy issues, but I like him a lot. We're talking about an offense that likes to throw the ball. He took touches from Cooper Kupp, right? So why not? Let's get Puka up here at 8. Number 9, who do you have?
Yeah, look, he was my next guy too. I had Puka right after him also, so can't go wrong there. Number 9, I'm gonna go. Maybe a little bit of a limb here. I'm going Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm gonna buy into the hype.
I love that, dude. No,
so,
I love
and my reason is because if you look at this range, like who are the other guys that you can put up there? You got Chris Olave. Just look at the list. Nico Collins, guys like that.
Mm-hmm.
If the hype is real, you're talking about an easy top 10 receiver.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like Marvin Harrison Jr. We talked about how good Kyler Murray is. Get him the ball. Here I am going to put Davante Adams in Las Vegas. We're talking about the best wide receiver there. We're talking about honestly, on any other team, he would probably be a top 5 wide receiver. If they get him the ball, he's a beast. We're a new offensive coordinator, new coach that really likes throwing him the ball. I think he's finally liking the team. I don't know if you watched the show Receivers on Netflix, but they were following Davante Adams, and you could see how frustrated he was.
Oh, yeah.
He was getting drilled.
How many times he was wide open and just not gotten the ball?
I don't think that's the case anymore. I think Davante Adams is going to be a top 10 receiver. I like him a lot. Next pick, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to go with another one kind of off the beaten path, Nico Collins.
Nico Collins. Yeah, sure.
I think he's going to be, and this is more like if CJ Stroud, like I put CJ Stroud up there as a top QB. If CJ Stroud is a top 5, 6 QB, it's going to be with Nico Collins having a big year. He's going to be the number 1. I think he's the number 1 receiver. All reports are that he's the number 1 target on that team, that Diggs is going to be playing out of the slot. And then you have Tank Dell also, who has a huge connection. But everyone's saying that Nico Collins has been the dude there. So if that's the case, I'm going with that one.
Yeah, I like him a lot. For my number 12 pick, I'm gonna go with Chris Olave out of New Orleans.
I was
About
between him
alphas.
and Collins next, so
Yeah, we talk about
I'm in
alpha wide
agreement there.
receivers. He's an alpha receiver, right?
Hmm.
Big, strong, get the ball fast. I like Chris Olave a lot here. I think if you could get him for 25, 24 bucks, 23 bucks on your auction draft, you nailed it. Anything cheaper than that, and you really nailed it. But I really like him here. I think he has a potential to be a top 10 wide receiver.
Yeah.
Right, getting him here at 12 in our list, not bad at all. I like him there.
I also think with him not having, he may not have the same quarterback that Collins has and CJ Stroud,
Right.
but he's the only dude there, man.
He
Like
doesn't have competition. That's it.
it's him, Raheem Shaheed, who's a
It's him and Kamara.
speedster,
Yeah.
and Kamara. That's it. Like they don't
That's
really
it.
have that offense is going to be lacking, so he's going to be a focal point of that passing game. So I'm
Exactly.
with you there.
All right. Who do you got? Number 13.
My next guy, I'm going with another rookie. A lot of reports around him, Malik Neighbors.
Yes. So fast.
I think there is he all reports are that he's the dude in the Giants offense. They are literally building the offense around him.
Mm-hmm.
They're scheming things for him. The guys look like a freak. And there's even been some reports that say that the difference between him and Harrison Jr. wasn't as big. The gap wasn't as big as everyone made it out to be.
Right.
So just another guy that's got a lot of hype as a rookie. We've seen these modern day rookies come out year one and make huge impacts on their team. And this guy is going to be, if he is truly going to be the focal point of that New York Giants offense, I think he's going to be a great fantasy receiver.
Yeah, I love it. I have to appreciate that you're picking on these rookies because you don't get them to. I'm never able to pick them because you always pick them up before me. But I like Malik Neighbors a lot here. My next guy is going to be Michael Pittman Jr. from Indiana. I think he is. We talked about when we talked about Anthony Richardson. He is going to be their number one receiver. Richardson doesn't throw a lot, but when he does, it usually goes to Pittman. So I like Michael Pittman here a lot. I think if you get him net $20 range, you're doing a good job in your draft. He's in that same kind of tier that we've been talking about, where you're getting into that wide receiver one, top 15 wide receiver, top 20 wide receiver of the year. I like him a lot here.
Nice. All right. I'm between two guys again, but I think I'm gonna go with Drake London.
Yeah,
I
sure.
think, yeah, it was him. To me, it was him or Mike Evans, but I'm going Drake
Yeah.
London there, just because a little younger. He plays in a dome, new offense, new QB, and we've seen this guy put up numbers with probably one of the worst offensive schemes I've ever seen in Arthur Smith. So we all know everyone's. Drake London is one of those. We talk about the eye test. He's one of those guys that passes the eye test.
Mm-hmm.
The dude is an alpha receiver. He just hasn't been in a good scheme with a good quarterback. So I think if with Cousins throwing the ball or Michael Penix, either one, watch out.
Yeah, I love it. I'm gonna go with Jalen Waddle,
I
Miami
love
boy,
it.
dude.
I
I like
love
Jalen
it.
Waddle a lot here. I think he's gonna be the number 2 receiver in the Dolphins. We're expecting the Dolphins to throw the ball a lot. This is a high-powered offense, hugely high-powered offense. He's got all the speed. If he stays out, the only thing with Jalen Waddle has been injury concerns. If he stays healthy, I'm looking for this guy to get over 1,000 yards this season. I like Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, agreed. I'm gonna go. My next one, I'm going with Mike Evans.
Yeah, I was gonna
Um,
say I left him there for you. He's so
yeah,
good.
yeah. So, and the only reason why I don't have him higher is just because he's gotten a little bit older and more mainly the quarterback situation. Even though he showed good rapport with Baker, but this dude really hasn't. He had those years with Tom Brady, but other than that, hasn't had a great quarterback most of his career outside of Brady. They've always been mid-level guys, and people don't realize this, but Mike Evans has never not had 1,000 yard receiving season. So, that guy does a lot with nothing, and he's a lock for 1,000 yards every year, and that's a safety net that you don't want to pass up in fantasy. So, lock me in for Mike Evans.
Love that. My next pick, man, I don't know where to go here. I think I'm going to go with Debo over in San Francisco. I like Debo a lot here. He does have injury concerns, but man, the dude's a beast.
I like him. I had him here too. I was like, again, here I'm splitting between two guys constantly,
Yeah.
but I would have gone Debo here also.
Yeah. Go for it. Next one.
Especially with the Ayuk stuff, I think that
Exactly.
Debo, he's going to get more touches. He's a Swiss Army knife kind of player. He gets rushes. He's a good fantasy player to have on your team. Good little wide receiver 2 type player.
Yeah.
My next guy I'm going with is Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp.
kind of the forgotten guy in St. Louis. Had some injury issues last year, but all reports are that he's back healthy, and him and Stafford have picked up in their love affair right where they left off. So, and I think just having a healthy Cup with a healthy Puka, you're gonna have Puka taking some attention away from Cup. And this was a guy that last time we saw him healthy, he was the number one receiver,
Absolutely.
the number one fantasy player that
Yep.
year. Put up crazy numbers. So I think you get him at a huge discount this year. And if he's a healthy player, you're gonna get a huge discount on a very good, potentially wide receiver one type player.
Yeah, I love that move. This one kind of goes against what I said earlier, but I'm going to take here for our last pick, Devontae Smith.
I don't
Really
hate
good,
it.
really
I
good
like it.
receiver. Number 2 in Philadelphia behind A.J. Brown. I think he's going to get all the touches. It's Jalen Hurts. He throws the ball. He had a kind of normal average year last year. He's a great wide receiver too. God forbid something happens at A.J. Brown, he automatically becomes a top tier receiver in my eyes. So yeah, that's our top 20. Any
Give me a
big names?
second. Give me a second. I gotta switch locations so I'm not gonna do our call.
Yeah, go for it. Hold on, let me pause. All right. So yeah, we did the top 20 wide receivers. I like our list. I think any big names that I could tell you a few big names that we've left out there, but any big ones that
Big ones that I think that we left off. Maybe he's
sure.
one guy.
DJ
Rashi
Moore,
Rice.
DK we left out there. Brandon Ayuk, depending on his stuff, he's missed out.
He was really one that I would have definitely put up there, but I don't know what team he's going to be playing for.
Yeah. Worthy, could have a breakout season. He's very fast. I don't know technically yet how he's going to play. Usually these very fast receivers, it's either like they're great or they're busts. But
Yeah, he's just, dude. Like we talked about, he's getting tossed around, so I'm not sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mari Cooper, Tank Dell, George Pickens, T. Higgins, a lot of wide receivers. Remember, this is a deep league of receivers.
we needed a top 20, so
Calvin Ridley, another guy, could have a great year. But yeah, I think we're good on receivers. I think it's time to jump into tight ends, buddy.
yeah. How many tight ends are we gonna do? Because that's a
We're gonna do
soft
10. We're gonna do 10. Let's do 5 each.
Okay. I do think that the tight end position this year is deeper than we've had in the past, which
Yes,
is nice.
absolutely.
It's not so much just get one of the big three. If not, it does not matter who you get. I think there's a good 8 to 10 tight ends this year that are basically you can have any of those. Obviously, the top or the high end guys will be a little better, but I don't think there's a huge drop off from any of these guys.
Absolutely agree with you. All right, I'll go first this time. I'm gonna go ahead and take Travis Kelce because the dude is a freaking unit. I understand that he's a little long in the tooth. I understand he's older, but he is a freaking wide receiver one. He is so good. I'm going to take Travis Kelce here. Come at me. I don't care.
No, I don't disagree with you. My only issue with him is they've openly said that they're trying to play him less reps. We saw it last year. They don't want to bang him up as much. He's older. They're only focused on winning Super Bowls, so he's not going to be out there running routes on every single play like he was in the past. He's basically like another wide receiver. I think that they're going to use him a little bit more like they did last year, which we saw was a little more sparingly. But again, that being said, it's still Travis Kelce. He finished what? He was still top 3 tight end last year.
He was a top 3 tight end, and there's also like the whole Taylor effect, like just a lot. Like I'm big. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Go for it. Number 2. Who do you have?
I'm going with Laporta, Sam Laporta.
Yeah, baby, Detroit.
I think he is the new big dog tight end out there. He was an absolute steal if you got him last year. I had him on multiple teams where I got him basically undrafted.
Yeah.
He ended up being the tight end one. He is one of the focal points of that offense. It's a high-powered offense. They play indoors. I just think it's an all-around good situation for them. So lock and load Laporta for tight end. And I think I personally would put him above Kelce. I would have him as the number 1 overall tight end.
Oh, you dug.
That's just me.
You dug. Okay, I'm gonna have here Trey McBride from Arizona. I think what you said to Laporta, it's the complete opposite. This is a guy that came behind Zach Ertz, and he's climbed his way to the top. And I think he's very good. I think that Arizona Kyler Murray offense is going to be perfect for him. I think he's going to be that guy that gets the ball when Kyler Murray can't run or can't throw the ball too far out. You're going to have Trey McBride there. I like him a lot. I think you could pay good money for him. People are talking about the Laportas and the Travis Kelsey's, and McBride kind of steps behind that. I think you get him for a good value. You could probably be like your third, fourth pick is a tight end, and I like him a lot here.
Yeah, I got no quarrels with that. I think this dude was looked at as basically a Travis Kelsey Jr. type. They
Yeah.
say that's his comparison is Travis Kelsey, and I think you saw last year he was featured in that offense. Like they literally played him like a wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Especially last year where they didn't have anyone to throw the ball to. So you saw kind of this dude was getting literally 12, 15 targets in a game. It was nuts.
Yeah.
So they were scheming him the ball. So I think he's set up for a big year. I would probably have Mark Andrews still above him for this year, but again, I think these are the top four guys.
Is
The
that
first
who
four
you're
is
picking up for number 4, Mark Andrews? Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be Mark Andrews. I would have put him at 3 and McBride at 4. So yeah, my rankings would have been Laporta, Kelsey, McBride, Andrews, McBride, and I think Andrews and Kelsey are a little closer this year.
Mm-hmm.
But the worry on Andrews, we saw a pretty gruesome injury last year. It was a shame because the dude he was having an absolute monster year. So I think that as long as that foot ankle heals up, look, we said it. You want shares of top offenses. This Ravens team is going to be one of the top offenses in the league, and this is really when he's healthy. It's Lamar Jackson's favorite target to throw to.
Yeah.
So I think
Fair pick.
he's my guy at 4.
I'm gonna go at 5. I'm gonna go with maybe a surprise to some people, but I'm gonna go here. Evan Engram from the Jaguars. I think Evan Engram
Ooh.
is an absolute beast. I think this offense is screaming for a tight end heavy offense. We're talking about a guy who had 143 targets last year. Brought in like 100 and something, 114 of them in. I like him a lot. This is his not his sophomore year, his junior year in the league, and I think he's going to get a lot of targets. And I think we're talking about a Jacksonville Jaguars team that doesn't have a lot to show for it. Calvin Ridley left, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun for Evan Engram this year. I think he's going to get a lot of targets. PPR all day.
Yeah, I think I don't dislike Evan Ingram. I think it's aggressive where you put him, but I'm fine with it. I think he's definitely one of the top tight ends. He has the potential to be one of the top tight ends. But yeah, I think at this point now, like after these first 4, these are toss up. Tight ends are a really hard position to predict.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think you can really hate on that pick, and you can make an argument either way for it.
Yeah, I think those first 4 guys you could probably spend like 20. You could even get up to $20 on them, especially like the Kelsey
Yeah,
and the Laporta.
you
But
can
like after
20.
that, like already here after those first 4, you're going to 15, 10, and then after the next 4, you're probably like at $1 max.
All right, so I'm going to go with another possibly hot take, not sure, but I'm going Dalton Kincaid.
Oh no, yeah, Buffalo all day. Yeah, I love that pick.
I'm putting him up there over Kittle and Njoku and these guys just
Yeah,
because this is an offense. We talked about it. Not a lot of receiving weapons now. This guy is built actually like a wide receiver. So I think he's going to be one of the focal points of the passing game, and I think he's going to be one of Josh Allen's favorite targets out there. So he's set up to have a huge year.
I'm gonna go with my pick is maybe a surprising one. I don't think it's that surprising. This guy's an absolute unit. Is Kyle Pitts. I think they're finally going to start utilizing this guy. I think he's going to stay healthy this year. I like him a lot here. If you could get him for under $15, that's an absolute steal. I'm hoping that I actually think he's going to be a top 5 tight end this year.
Yeah, I don't blame you. He's been drafted in the past like a top 5 tight end. I just think he's fallen this year because people just got tired of waiting.
Yeah.
But everybody knows that this guy's an absolute freak. If you've seen the film, there's so many highlights of him just running wide open, like literally jumping up and down in frustration because he's fucking throwing me the ball. Jesus, Like he is just smoking dudes out there. He tosses linebackers around and gets open.
Yep.
So I think again, Arthur Smith just huge dope. Couldn't get his best players the ball. So hopefully, new system, new QB. Kind of everyone in that Atlanta offense is getting a bump this year. Everybody's excited.
Yeah, people love Atlanta. Yeah.
So they have a lot of talent on that team that just wasn't utilized at all. So I think if it works out the way everyone's thinking, you're going to see a lot of good fantasy options coming from that offense, and one of them is definitely going to be Kyle Pitts, for sure.
All right, number 8. Who do you have?
I'm going to go with our boy David Njoku. crazy that we haven't put Kittle up there. By the way, I think
I'm going on Kittle.
slan-
No, I'm
we're
coming
kind of
Kittle.
slandering Kittle's name here because he
Yeah,
probably
I thought you were going
like
to Kittle right there. That's why I
all,
was.
all around. But again, we're talking about like all around tight ends. I think Kittle's probably like top three
Yep.
when it comes to everything he does for their team. But for fantasy wise, I just think there's too many options on the San Fran team. He's very boomer bust. And we saw Njoku. The reason why I'm putting Njoku over him from a fantasy perspective is because we started to see last year them actually run plays designed for Njoku, scheming him the ball, making him more of a focal point. And all reports are it's even more so the case this year.
Yeah.
I think whether it's Deshaun Watson or whoever they have throwing the ball, it's not the best quarterback situation. And usually in those kind of, when you have those kind of quarterback situations, they love to focus on the throwing the ball in the middle of the field. That's where guys like Njoku, that's where tight ends go ahead and eat. And this dude's a freak athlete.
Yeah. I
I
don't
saw
mind him there. I think last year his numbers were a little bit inflated. Flacco was throwing him the ball like crazy last year. He doesn't have that this year. But yeah, I don't mind him there at all. I think that's what you're saying. They're going to throw the ball up the middle, and those guys love that shit.
Also, the training camp reports were that they were straight up scheming. They're
Yeah.
they're designing plays for Njoku, red zone plays, and things like that. And that he's apparently looked like an absolute beast in camp. So
Yeah.
maybe I have Miami bias there, but
Yeah.
for fantasy purposes, I'm putting Njoku there.
I'm gonna go with George Kittle here at number 9. It's what you're saying. It's crazy that we waited this long to get George Kittle.
Well, I just can't believe you put Evan Ingram over him. That's the one that I'm shocked on. But
Oh, relax, dude. Evan
I had
Ingram's
my A-chain pick. You have your Evan Ingram.
yeah, there you go. I have my Evan Ingram pick. I think George Kittle's an absolute beast as a tight end. Arguably, he's been like the second best tight end in the last 3 years behind Travis Kelce. I like him here, especially in the later rounds. You could get him for $10, $8 on your auction drafts. He's a really fun person to watch. He gets all the touches. George Kittle is a great tight end. I can't say much else about him.
Yeah.
Who do you have?
Yeah.
Last pick.
Last pick, I'm going with Dallas Cowboy, Jake Ferguson.
Ooh.
I think he's an easy top 10 tight end this year. We saw him do pretty well last year. They like to use him as the receiver for the middle of the field in that offense. And again, we talked about it. There's a little bit of lack of talent on that Cowboys offense. They got rid of Pollard. They brought in Zeke. They're going to be throwing the ball a lot. It's CeeDee, and then who do you have on the other side? Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
Guy's 100 years old already. Not that he's not good, but 100. So I think Jake Ferguson is going to be one of the focal points of that passing offense. So on a team that's going to throw the ball a gajillion times.
I love that move. I love the Dallas Jake Ferguson there, especially as our last pick. I think he's right where I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be the top. He's going to be the tight end 10 at the end of the season, and I think he's a good pick. You could get him there for that $10 or less. Absolutely take him. So big names we left off the list: Dallas Goedert from Philadelphia, Freeman from Pittsburgh, Hawkinson from Minnesota. Yeah, we left out Hawk. Noah Fant from Seattle. I actually do think
another guy I think that we might have slept on is Dalton Schultz.
Dalton Schultz, absolutely. Yeah, Dalton Schultz. Yeah, absolutely missed out on him. We have the guy from Chicago, big name, Komet. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing with tight ends though. Like these guys that we're talking about, they're not going to win you your league by any means.
And I was targeting guys that aren't so touchdown dependent. A lot of these guys that we just named, like they have to score touchdowns to score
exactly.
points. The other guys we named, they don't have to score touchdowns.
They're gonna get touches. They're gonna get targets.
Get 5, 6, 7 reception, 8 reception. Some of them have double-digit reception upside. So
yeah. All right, man. So we did all the positions that matter. We don't do defense and kickers in my book. I don't know if you want to do those, but
I don't even have those. Most of my leagues have removed them.
Yes, those are pointless. If I had to,
they don't belong in fantasy.
They don't belong in fantasy. I think this was a lot of fun. I think it's going to be exciting. Maybe I'll do a spreadsheet and keep track and see how we did. See if we could get
we should.
See how we do it. Any housekeeping news? I have housekeeping news. I'm sorry, I do have housekeeping news. We're gonna do the week 1 college football live stream. Make sure you guys follow for us on that. I'm going to be sitting there all day making live bets with you, without you. Make sure you follow. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. It's going to be a lot of fun. Geocache this week.
I want to see if there's a way for me to like video into the live stream.
Oh, there is. Don't you? For sure. We'll get you in here somehow. Don't worry about
it. I may be doing it from a hospital recovery room.
You're going to be knee deep in diapers, but It's going to be super exciting. We do have some guests that have already confirmed jumping in and watching the games with us and joining in on the fun. This week will be up. So we're actually filming this today on Thursday, which is going to come out today on Thursday. Geocache will be up probably later this weekend. Make sure you guys follow, subscribe, look for that stuff. And what else do we have, Huff?
I think that's it, man. I'm ready for football season to get going.
Football season is my favorite season.
I barely even pay attention to anything else at this point. What else is there? FedEx Cup playoffs? Who cares about that?
Exactly. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. I know this one was super long, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it and you guys came out of this by learning something. We are going to post this whole entire podcast. It's going to be like 2 hours long.
The longest one yet.
That's our longest one yet. What I'll do is I'll also break it up on parts on YouTube. Make sure you guys follow, subscribe, add all these little fancy things down here somewhere. And thank you guys so much for listening. Have a great one. Have a good weekend. Enjoy it. Go Dolphins.
Go Fins.
You've been listening to First Step. We told you we don't take this too seriously, didn't we? I'd say we've proven that. Yes, we love sports, and we love sports betting. But we like the funner side, not the stuffy side. We hope you had a blast like we did. If so, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on Instagram and TikTok at First Step Bets. See you next time on First Step.